We are doing a human design overview right now. And we are doing this for djcotelli. This experience is going to be two parts. Part one is, what is human design? And then part two is, how do you say your yes and no, djcotelli, specifically for you, based on what we see here? Okay, so let's move to part one. What is human design? There's many ways that we can describe this, so I'm going to take a few minutes and describe it to you. Human design ultimately allows your purpose to flow through you if you understand how you say your yes and no. Your purpose is your incarnation cross, which is a right angle cross of tension, 39, 38, 21, 48. So that's the quickest way to describe human design. Human design allows your purpose to flow through you without getting your brain involved, without saying all the shoulda, woulda, couldas. All right. Another way to describe human design is that it reminds you of who you are before the world conditioned you. Now, I know that from living in a bilingual province. I mean, yours is bilingual too, but just not classified as it. But I see how conditioned the province of Quebec is. Like, I think there's 12,000 businesses needing to reconsider their business because of being forced to speak French. But yeah, so when a person is born, they're raised in a society. They are possibly raised with a religion. You're born into a biological sex. You're a boy, you like blue. You're a girl, you like pink. And all of the different conditioning experiences that come along with those, all of the religious things. And so human design is just reminding us of who we are before we were taught all of those things about how we should be religious, how we should be as a person, how we should be in society. Of course, we need to follow the TOS of life, but this is just telling you how you use your energy. All right. I can explain it this way, is that, when we're young, we're put into school, and our busy little bodies are forced to sit down and learn. And we know that everybody doesn't learn the same way, but we're conditioned to all learn the same way. We go through school, we graduate, maybe, and then we leave the place where we were raised and we think we're free. But technically we're not. We still have to adhere to the TOS of life. Your boss expects you to act a certain way. Your clients expect you to have a certain level of customer service. So we change ourselves in order to accommodate that. And along the way, we kind of lose ourselves. So human design is reminding you of who you are. So that is what human design is. Human design is the only system out there that I know of that tells you how you correctly say your yes and no for you, or how you go about doing what you do correctly for you. It's the only system that I know of. So that's why human design is so different than everything else. Once again, once you learn how to correctly use your energy, you're going to allow your purpose to naturally flow through you. Okay. That is human design. That is part one of our experience. Now, part two is going into how do you, DJ Cotelli, say your yes and no based on who you are. I want to say that if a person were to have the full experience, we would go into what these centers or these geometrical shapes mean. And we would go into what these lines or what these channels mean, because they're a consistent aspect of who you are. But that's the full foundational reading. I won't leave you hanging with anything that's going to be of detriment to you. So I've been looking for that the whole time. So it would just be an injustice to you if I did that. All right. So part two, here we go. How does DJ Cotelli make correct decisions for themselves? Okay, well, I want to bring up on screen this little list here. Typically it's put together, but there must have been like something on the phone going on here. So you see here that you are a manifestor. Manifestors are actually of the rare types. Less than 7% of the world, or about 7% of the world, has this type. And why am I even mentioning this? It's because your type, if we're going to compare it to something, I'm going to compare it to the astrology world. I am a Capricorn because I'm born in December, and that's the only reason why I know, because somebody told me I was. To a person like me who's not trained in astrology, I have no clue what Capricorn means, but for somebody who's trained in astrology, Capricorn means a lot. So over here in the human design system, you are a manifestor. Why? It's because it's based on your time of birth, etc., and how all of these things line up in your chart up here. So if you are ever going to refer yourself in the human design system, you are going to call yourself an emotional manifestor. Now, before we go any further, I do want to address the elephant in the room. Just because it says emotional, it doesn't mean that you are actually emotional. You have a fixed way of expressing your emotionals. And you know exactly how in a fixed way you express that. Maybe in the subconscious way, but yes. All right, so you're a manifestor. That is your type. So because you're a manifestor, there are two different things that we need to know about: your strategy and your authority in order to make your decisions. Whether it's you, DJ, or whether it is another person watching. Strategy and authority is always how you make your decisions for you. Strategy and authority, two parts. Strategy, authority. So it's going to take two parts for me to explain this to you. Okay. So there's jargon here: strategy and authority. This is your choice mechanism. This is how you make decisions correctly for you in life. It can be said in a multitude of ways, but you might hear me say strategy and authority. So when you are following your strategy and authority, when you're making correct decisions for yourself, then you're allowing your purpose to flow through you. When you are hearing your energy speak to you, but you do the opposite of what it says, then you end up in your not self theme, which will result in anger. So if you follow what your energy says, purpose is had. If you go the opposite of what your energy is saying, then anger appears in your life. All right. The point of this experience is to understand how you say your yes and no. I don't want to put this up on the screen because it just has personal information up there. So we're going to work off this screen here. So djcotelli, you are a manifestor, and your strategy and authority. That's what we're going to talk about now. It's a two-piece experience. All right. Let's start with your strategy. Because you are a manifestor, you are here to inform. What does that even mean? All right, well, as a manifestor, you are like that drop that falls in the water and you create ripples which turn into waves. So it's actually good for you to inform people what you're going to do. For example, let's say you're on the highway and you didn't turn on your signal and you cut someone off, creating an accident. You know, that blinker is here to inform people. Another way to express that is, I like explaining it like a pirate ship at dock. You're about to set sail and, well, if you don't inform anybody, your leaving will create waves, and your neighbors at dock had their fine china out and it got all knocked on the ground. And, you know, if they would have known, they would have kept it away or they would have secured their china until after you've left. So your actions do have a direct impact on those around you. So regarding being a manifestor that informs, yeah, you're leaving on that pirate ship, but you don't have to tell people how you're going, when, or like how long it's going to be, where the destination is. You're just going to tell people you're going. Another clear day example is, let's say you're the person who lets the dog out to go poop. And one day you just like, F it. Because you're angry. Nobody else does it. And you don't tell anybody that you're not letting the dog out. Who let the dog out? It wasn't you. So the dog ends up pooping on the floor because you didn't inform anybody of your actions. Of course, you end up being angry, but it's only for you to be angry at yourself because you didn't inform anybody. Because the dog can't open the door himself. I mean, maybe it can. So, regarding informing, though, let's just say that you want to go pee. It's not like you're going to announce to the room that you're, hey, go and pee. Unless you legit have to get out of the car, trek across 2 kilometers to go pee, it has no impact in anybody's life except yours. But when you are informing the people who have a direct impact in that particular situation. So if you're a pirate ship, you're just going to let your neighbors know, maybe your buddies before you leave, and the dock master. I mean, when you're using your blinker, you're informing the people behind you. So when you're going to inform people of the decision that you've made, tell the people that it will impact. You don't need to tell the whole collective. You don't need to tell the whole tribe unless it affects the tribe, like I'm giving my 2 weeks notice. Because your 2 weeks notice is definitely needed because you have that much of an impact. You know, not just giving the 2 weeks notice to your boss, but your 2 weeks notice to your buddies at work too, because they are impacted as well. Maybe they feel like they were left out on the decision, or they feel like, I don't know, maybe they just feel frustrated because you didn't tell them. Maybe they could have mentally prepared too. So, regarding being a manifestor, the first part of your strategy is to inform people. And it actually has nothing to do with you. It actually has everything to do with us, to prepare us for what you're about to do so that we can prepare or get the F out of the way, help you or move out of the way. Now, what's interesting is that you are a person who is here to, I forget what I was going to say because I started thinking about this line here. So I'll just talk about this line here. This is like, okay, yeah, right. Let's go back. You're a manifester, and people wish they had that type of energy. You're here to just do it. Just like, all of those hippy dippy books, Manifest the Life of Your Dreams. You have the capability of, impacting your environment around you. That so much so that it happens. Um, but as a manifester, even though everybody kind of wishes that they were, society, feels like manifestors are out of control, and they try to lock you in a box or like put a chain around your neck and try to hold you in because they just feel the impact that you have. So what's funny is that I'm a generator, and we're conditioned to be manifestors, and manifestors are conditioned to be generators. I know that's jargon, but you're here to start things, not necessarily see them through and finish them. Because you're a manifestor, you're here to transform, mutate, and manifest. But yeah, regarding this channel up here, I will say it. This is the channel of money, a design of a materialist, but it has to do with control. So it's like a good management. Are you management? Do people just give you control? All right. So anyways, that's just a little bit of extra stuff there. Yes. I don't believe I have anything else to say regarding the to inform aspect of it. So I'm going to do a review of what I just said. You have this type that is a manifestor, and because of that, your strategy and authority is to inform, and your authority is to have this emotional solar plexus. As this manifestor that's here to inform, you're here to inform the people that you are about to impact on the decision that you've gotten clarity on. Oh my gosh, I so want to give you all the extra bitty details about everything in the chart. Oh, it's so spicy. I love it. So yeah, you're here to inform those people that you have an impact on regarding the decisions that you've gotten clarity on. Now, part 2 of your experience is your inner authority, how What is part 2 of making your decisions? Okay, well, how do you get to a point of telling people of what you're going to do? Well, this is where it comes into play. Your emotional solar plexus. So what makes you a manifestor? I know this is jargon, but you have energy centers connected to the throat without having your sacral defined. I know it's jargon, but that's what makes you a manifestor. And your emotional solar plexus is this brown triangle on the right here. Once again, it's not because you're emotionally all over the place. You have a fixed way of expressing your emotions in an unconscious way. So, what does it mean to have this as your authority? How do you go about making decisions? You have a decision to make. What happens? Well, this is going to take me about 10 to 15 minutes to explain this because there's a variety of ways that I've been told this. I don't have this defined, so I only have the experiences that I've been educated through based on other people's experiences. So let's talk about it. Firstly, this is juicy energy, and if people offer you something, they're really seeing your energy. And the thing is that when you need to make a decision, there's actually no truth in the now for you. There's actually a multitude of places in your chart as to why you're not an instantaneous being. So being risky, being instantaneous probably leads you into trouble. This emotional solar plexus is about gaining clarity. That is how you make your decisions. You gain clarity. What does gaining clarity mean? How do you gain clarity to make a decision? Well, you were asked something. You were given an opportunity to gain clarity on and to inform somebody about your decision. But what happens? Well, clarity means that you'll only ever be 70% clear on your decision. And if you are 70% clear, congratulations, that's freaking clear, yo. What is clarity? What is getting an answer through this center here, the solar plexus? Well, when you make a decision when you're super excited or super angry, it's most likely that you're going to find yourself in a position of regretting the decision that you made, because when you make a decision out of clarity, it's usually made without any nervousness or emotions attached. I know you can't be emotionless, but when you're super excited, it's a bad time to make a decision. When you're super low in that emotional wave, it's a bad time to make that decision. So you need time. When somebody asks you to do something, especially when it's big, so having somebody ask you and having them wait, I'm sure it gave you a little bit of anxiety waiting for your new job to start, even though the person knew that you told them that you had a week of relaxing before you start your new job. They want your energy. It's juicy. And they are willing to wait for it if they have offered you something. Now, let's just say that you have many things that you want to decide on, and there's one option but many doors to go through. Maybe door number 3 is the most clear to you, so you need to make a decision now. Well, you should be picking door number 3 based on the clarity that you've gained over time through that multitude of decisions that you need to make, or the multitude of options that you have in front of you. What is clarity? Clarity Let's just say that someone offered you the job of a lifetime. And obviously you get super excited, but I just told you that making the decision out of having that extreme emotion is not a good time to make a decision. So you would say to the recruiter, yo, can I have the weekend to think about it? Maybe you need more than a weekend to think about it. Can I have the week to think about it? Obviously, you can't make it go too long or the opportunity's just gone. But when you tell them to wait, obviously there's only two different things that can happen. You tell them your answer or the opportunity falls through. You're like, well, yeah, that's why it's scary. That's why I want to tell them right away that I want it. It's a job of my lifetime. Why would I tell them to wait? Well, let's just say that during that waiting period of you getting clarity that they decided that, nah, I'm good. We don't need you anymore. We've actually filled your position. We found a better candidate. They actually did you a favor of allowing it to fall through, because imagine if you had already agreed, not signed anything, given your 2 weeks notice at your previous job, started the wave effect, and you don't even have that new job that was offered to you. So gaining clarity protects you and your energy as well, because it allows you to see what commitments are correct for you and your energy. All right, so clarity. Somebody asks you something that will require energy to commit to for a long time. You know, say, can I give you an answer after the weekend? And see if you've gained some clarity on it. And if not, tell them if they can't wait longer for your clarity, then they're going to have to choose someone else. Or, you know, maybe it's best if you choose someone else as I get my clarity. I'm not sure. What feels correct for you? Did you get clarity to say that? So it's this lack of nervousness around making a decision. Are you worried about what you're going to do? Not a good time to make a decision. Super excited. Not a good time to make a decision. Super angry. Nope. So, like I said, 70% clear after you've ridden or rode that up and down wave of what the experience could be if you were to go through it. So how do we work these together? As a manifestor, how do you use your strategy and authority? Well, as a manifestor, you're here to inform after you've gained clarity. So you have so many decisions around you to make. It's just for you to gain clarity on and to inform people what you're going to do. What did you gain clarity on? I know there's a lot of things to gain clarity on, but what did you gain clarity on? Who are you going to tell in your network based on the investigations that you've done? All right, so let's rewind this back to kind of the beginning where I said, what is human design? Human design is a person's energetic blueprint, so it allows them to understand how they say their yes and no based on who they are at the deepest levels. We were just told that djcotelli needs time to get clarity and then inform the people around them that are going to be impacted by that decision. When djcotelli gains clarity and follows that clarity, then he is allowing his purpose to flow through him. If djcotelli gets clarity and he's scared and he doesn't do it, and his brain gets all involved and he says there's excuses like, oh, money, oh, time, you know, you do the opposite of what your energy tells you to do, then you're going to find yourself sidetracked from your purpose. So when you listen to your energy and follow it, purpose is flowing. When you don't listen to your purpose, when you hear it and you do the opposite, then you're going to create this not self theme in your life, which is anger. There's so many more things that we could talk about regarding this experience, but this is what the $50 experience is, understanding how you say your yes and no. Now, regarding this, it's going to take a little bit of time to ingest because you're a person who requires clarity. You might need to watch this once or twice or 9 times, and so you gain your clarity on how you do say your actual yes and no. You are meant to ingest things over time. Remember, there's no truth in the now. You're not meant to be instantaneous or risky. But your energy does know what is correct to commit to once you gain clarity. And then just tell the people that you're about to impact or inform them about what you're doing. You don't have to tell them the whole plan. But yes, if a person does want the full experience of understanding what these centers mean, what this little definition, your behavioral costume means, and what your shining light out into the world indicates, so type, strategy, authority profile, getting these channels in here, that's the $250 experience. And if you feel called to have a $250 experience or the $50 experience of going over your yes and no, you can get that either through my website or just a straight dono here through the donate link.